If you've been sexually intimate with more than one partner, chances are you have the human papillomavirus. Up to 80% of people with more than one partner will test positive for it. HPV is a sexually transmitted disease, but you don't have to have sex to get it.
But there's other ways to contract it as well. While most is with intercourse, just the actual touching, or everything but, as people will say, could actually transmit it as well.
Sexual contact isn't the only way people are getting HPV. The principal HPV trial investigator, Dr. Diane Harper, told me young children have it.
We also have evidence that HPV exists in all ages, in young women, young girls, 3-year-olds, 5-year-olds, 7-year-olds, 11-year-olds as well, and that it comes and it goes just as it does in our adolescence. And we don't know the way in which these young girls got their HPV disease.
You can have HPV and not know it. Some strains show up as genital warts in both men and women. Another 2 strains cause cervical cancer. Regular pap smears can detect precancerous changes, but those cells need to be removed before cancer develops. 500,000 women nationwide will have to have surgery that could include cutting off part of the cervix not once but multiple times to prevent cancer. Dr. Karen Zimpalik spends hours in surgery every week because of HPV.
It actually causes precancerous changes of the cervix, which is what we hear most about, and of the vagina and the vulva, which is the skin between the legs, but also of the skin near the anus. So anal cancers and precancers, in fact penile cancers, are often driven by HPV.
Vicki King is recovering from cervical cancer. In January she had surgery. The following week she learned the cancer was still there. Vicki was devastated.
Am I going to die? You don't know. You have no idea. Sorry. And they said that the next step would be a hysterectomy.
Doctors in Pollock removed Vicki's cervix and uterus.
No one even thinks that this can happen to them. And for me to sit there and think, I'm sitting there going through, okay, I try to do everything right, and I try, I think I'm a great mom. I've got 2 great boys, a great husband, a great life. Why? Why me?
Vicki King is recovering from cervical cancer surgery. She doesn't waver when it comes to her opinion of the HPV vaccine.
No one wants to go through what I've been through, and I don't care who you are. If I had a daughter at 9 years old, you better bet that she's getting the vaccine.
The Centers for Disease Control recommends HPV vaccination among females 9 to 26 to prevent cervical cancer by HPV. But Utah's legislature voted down a $1 million plan that would educate Utahns about the vaccine and make it available. One of the plan's sponsors is State Representative Karen Morgan.
It was very disappointing because what I'm trying to do is to save lives with this legislation.
The money portion of the bill was shot down by opponents like Gail Ruzicka.
They must teach that the only sure way to prevent HPV that leads to cervical cancer was through abstinence before marriage and fidelity within marriage.
But one of the vaccine's lead researchers, Dr. Diane Harper, says while sexual intimacy is the most common way HPV is transmitted, studies show children have it.
It was very surprising, and it's very hard for many of my professional colleagues to accept the fact that there are well over 10 publications, probably close to 20 publications of very high quality that document the presence of the cancer-causing HPV types in young children. It was not expected.
After Utah lawmakers denied funding for HPV vaccines, one of Utah's most notable philanthropists stepped up. John Huntsman Sr. donated $1 million to Utah's Department of Health for vaccinations and education.
In our case, it isn't a matter of trying to figure out why we have the disease or what causes the disease. The fact of the matter is that we have a form of cancer that needs to be eradicated, period. I mean, it's as simple as that in my mind.
Dr. Harper addresses concerns about safety.
The data that we have on safety right now shows that there is nothing to be concerned about, that the vaccines are safe.
When 18-year-old Adrienne Pincel heard about the vaccine, she got it.
I think that if there's any chance that somebody can get something that prevents cancer, irregardless of if it has anything to do with sex, you should get the vaccine. It doesn't matter.